Portals to Hell was canceled. But maybe that's been a good thing for Katrina Weidman. She graciously agreed to chat with me about her singing career, including the release of her latest single, I Do, and a couple of other pokers she's got in the fire. Let's listen to what transpired during our creepy conversation. Okay, well, I will get started and just thank you so much for joining me to talk about, I guess your latest single is kind of sparking this. It's called I Do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And it just came out on May 26th.
it did.
Okay, and um I think, do you call your style of music alt rock?
Yeah, it's definitely like a dark pop with some rock elements on some songs because you know, my past band was definitely a rock band. So I feel like, and I grew up with a lot of rock and that's kind of what I gravitated towards. So I think especially in some of my singles coming up, some of my music coming up, you'll hear more of those influences.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so and that kind of leads me to a question I was gonna ask later, like, is there an is there an album in your future or tours or where is this going?
Yeah, so there's another single off of the EP coming up this summer, and then the EP will be out in the late summer, early fall, and then an album after that would be the plan. It's funny, I took Barb Morrison, who's the producer on my music for all this. I took their mentorship program, and I've been writing since I was a kid, like 11, 12. Um, but after the band broke up, I felt really, really stuck as a writer. And I heard about Barb's mentorship program through their wife, who I had been connected to for a number of years. And, I had a conversation with Barb, started their program. And once I started that, it was like, I came in with a couple songs to show them, but um, they had said one thing to me that completely just let everything come out. And that was, they said, why are you trying so hard to control this? Meaning, why are you trying so hard to control the songs and what you're writing? Like, just let them be what they're going to be. And I don't know why I needed that, but it was just, I guess I needed somebody just to give me permission. I felt like I needed it on some level. And once Barb said that to me, it was like I was writing a song a day, sometimes two songs a day. And without fully knowing I was doing it at the time, I had written like an album,
Oh,
probably two.
that's crazy. That
Yeah.
is so wild that, but you've always kind of been writing, like you said, but
Hmm.
just that you needed that key to unlock.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Barb also said something else to me that like kind of unlocked some stuff for me. I don't know. And I guess a lot of us, going through the pandemic have been examining our lives and, what we do and how we exist in this world. And um when I was in the mentorship program, Barb and I were talking about the ghost side of everything. And they were like, how do you do that? Like, how do you actually go into these places? Aren't you scared? And I said a couple of things, but the one thing I said to them that really struck them was I was like, well, you know what? I don't want fear to like have me miss out. I don't want to miss out on anything because of my fear. And Barb was like, wow, what a great thought for how to go through life. And after that call, I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm not going through life like that. I'm actually only going through haunted houses like that. Like, so then it also became this thing of like, gosh, I'm kind of like, why am I waiting so much for permission from other people to do the things that I love to do and that I've been doing since I was a kid? You know, I don't know. It's a very like kind of kismet relationship there, I felt.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
huge. And it's so wild because you're much younger than I am, but I admire you so much when I watch you on TV because you're so together and like you know what you want to do. You always have from paranormal normal state to,
Yeah.
working with Nick to, with, I can't think of
Ooh,
portals to
Jack.
hell. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. I'm like, it's coming to me. It's just not coming to, but you're so together. And I'm like, damn, I wish
Thank
I could
you.
be at 53, which you are at your age. And then to hear you say this is sort of like, wait, what? You go through that too? Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't show it at all. So that's huge to hear.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I get on those on like pretty much every place we go, I get scared and then just like the other side of life, your daily life, I'm pretty much terrified, I think, all the time. So I'm just but what Barb said really stuck with me, and it's like a constant, I hear their voice in my head a lot with that little phrase that they said to me. And yeah, definitely. I think everything kind of like all the dominoes were kind of lined up to shift gears.
That's awesome. And kind
Yeah.
of on, I had like, I never thought I would get to speak to you. So this is huge. Thank you for agreeing
Oh,
to do
yeah.
this. But when Portal, like I didn't realize until I think when I was doing the research about, well, wait a second, she's singing. Wait, I thought Portals to Hell was coming back and it's not coming back. And I knew you did, Travel the Dead. And
Yeah.
do you think that kind of it was also a kismet that maybe did Portals to Hell not getting renewed kind of help steer you now to pursuing singing?
Yeah, I think so because it was it was a weird thing, I think. And I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this in their life, but I felt, s- I my career path was very much music and acting before the paranormal presented an opportunity. And it wasn't that I wasn't into the supernatural. I always was. It was like a hobby, and I didn't, there were like a few ways you could have a career at it, but it was mostly in like academics. And as much as I was interested in it, I never saw myself in an academic field. Um, it just didn't like as something I wanted to do for the rest of my life professionally. I don't know that I would survive that. Like because I have such the love for arts that I felt very much pulled to pursue that more. Um, and so my career path was going into the arts. And then this opportunity presented itself, which was such a wonderful surprise. And that, wow, I can pursue this thing that I really also love. Um, but it was one of those things of it really, really snowballed. And I didn't see that coming, didn't expect it, didn't plan for it, And then it's like that thing that everybody talks about where it's like, and then one day I woke up and I realized the age I was, and I was like, wait a minute, these things that I've always wanted to do, I'm not doing them the way I wanted to do them. Um, so it was kind of one of those things. And it was with portals being canceled. It's a bummer because we really had such a great team on that show, and we all had like a lot of interesting cases that we felt good about. But it's also when you work in TV, you go in knowing that a job isn't forever, and you really don't know how long you have. And I always count myself lucky if we have 3 seasons because I think, and I mean, even like really, you're lucky to get a first season because it's so hard to get shows off the ground, especially now. And so, it just felt I like on a gut level, I thought it was going to come. It kind of felt like it was coming. And I had no reason to think that. It was just very much like a sixth sense kind of thing. And before it was canceled, I was, again, working very seriously on my music because I had taken a break from it once the band dissipated. Uh, so it all just kind of lined up. I don't know that it was any of it was by design on my part. I wasn't planning for any of this really. It was just sort of everything just kind of lined up to make it so.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that it worked out because I very like everything you're saying right now. I'm like, this is weird because like I'm at that point where I'm questioning my path and stuff. So you
Mm.
talking is sort of helping. It's like, okay, this is normal. This is, I
Yeah.
think this is just one of those cycles. People do this.
Yeah.
She's even doing it. See?
Yeah. And it's funny. I think for me too, it's like it's not about leaving the super. I have no intention of leaving the paranormal field at all. Like we're still doing Travel the Dead and I have a podcast coming up. It's always been about expansion, and never about like leaving something, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because I was going to ask, like, I know people are going to be wondering, well, wait, is she trading in paranormal investigating for
No.
singing and songwriting? But no, you'll still keep Travel the Dead. And then does the podcast have a name or any kind of
It
go
it's
date
a
yet?
it definitely has a name. I don't think I'm announcing it just yet, because
Okay.
there's still some things up in the air. But yeah, it's always been. It's funny. I feel like these are very much the things I've been in love with since I was a child. So I can't imagine my life without either of them. Like, even though I think the music kind of seems out of left field to some people, but again, I've been doing it since I was 11, 12. I went to school for it. So even though it wasn't, uh, I guess, front and center, like the paranormal was, it was very much always part of my life, even if I was doing it behind the scenes.
That is, yeah, because that's how I felt. I was like, wait, she sings too? Like,
Yeah,
she's a
yeah.
Renaissance woman. She does everything. I was like, that's wild. And you're really good. Like,
Oh,
people,
thank
like, I
you.
listened to both and I was like, holy crap, she's got pipes. Like,
Oh, all that musical theater training coming through.
that's amazing. And
Yeah.
did you have, oh, this is from somebody who it wasn't quite a question, but she had left a comment that she wondered if you channeled um into a certain genre or if you enjoy singing jazz or country or I know we talked about rock, but did
Yeah.
you have any of those other influences?
Yeah, I think well, my biggest influence is definitely Tori Amos.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, I it was just one of those things, you hear her as a kid and I was a piano player, so to hear somebody kind of marrying a bunch of genres together with a piano, it was like, oh, I didn't realize you could do that, my 11, 12-year-old self. And so she's probably my biggest influence, but I think vocally, I always gravitate towards rock vocalists, like a Pat Benatar, an Ann Wilson, um, and even I mean, she's not rock, she's pop, but Madonna, like because it's just that was like what I grew up listening to, and then I was really lucky where I also grew up in the '90s, so we had all those great bands that had a platform at the time, and you were exposed to their music, so even like Courtney Love, I adore Hole. That's still like a record. Live Through This is very much a record I still reach for. Um, so yeah, I think there's a lot of different kind of influences in there. Because I also, I played violin for a long time, so I feel like instrumental music I gravitate towards a lot, and my parents, they did theater, so we grew up with a lot of musical theater and a lot of oldies and all that stuff. We had like Frank Sinatra Sundays at my house. So
wow,
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. My dad would make like omelets and like we'd all listen to Frank Sinatra in the morning. So
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
That this is fun to see this other, aspect of you to know, like,
Mm,
because it's so easy when, like us, we see you on TV, we think,
yeah.
oh, you're just this way. And no, there's so much more. And there's so many little, sewing things that went into creating you. I don't know how to
Yeah.
say that. I will clean that up when I type this out.
I like it.
And then I'll just kind of end with this one. I don't want to keep you too much time. I thank you for your time.
Mm.
Um, you have partnered, like I said before, some great guys, Nick Groff, oh my gosh, Jack Osborne. See, I write so much better than I speak. It's crazy. Well, slightly better, we'll put it that way. But are we gonna maybe see you duet with any paranormal pals, or is there anybody you would want to?
I think you will probably see something with me and Jack in the near future.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't say much about it, but that and then there's something else that he and I are kind of looking into to see if we can make happen. And I think if we can make it happen, people will be very, very excited for it because we're like over the moon for it. So we're hoping that it can work out. Um, but yeah, Jack and we were just texting today, so I think you would definitely see us in the future.
Oh, that would be good because I know a lot of people are crushed that, Portals of Hell isn't
I
coming back.
know,
So that
I
would be,
know.
if they have something, even a glimmer, they'll love to know that. And oh, I lied. I have one more thing. Do
Oh
you
yeah,
have
sure.
any appearances coming up that people could see you sing in person at?
Music wise, not yet. A friend of mine, actually a friend of mine from high school reached out because he's a musician too, and he's like, we should put together a show. So, maybe that'll come to fruition. But I'll definitely keep people posted. I started an email subscription list because I think algorithms for social media keep changing, and I feel like I see so many comments where people are like, "Oh, I missed that announcement." So I definitely have my email subscription going, and announcements will be made there first, starting in July.
Oh,
Um,
that's all. So what is that? How or can I get that somehow?
oh yeah, yep. So it's on my website. Any page you're on my website, you just scroll to the bottom, and there's a section to put in your name and your address. And I don't sell information. I don't spam people. It's just literally a place to make sure you're up to date on any events or appearances or shows or music that's coming out. And like Travel the Dead announcements will be there first. Like we'll still announce on social media, but I think social media is just so finicky with reaching your audiences that I wanted to start with the email list so I can make sure people are getting the information.
Oh, that's so awesome to know because you are totally, and it's interesting because again, you are a big person with a big following, and yet even you're noticing these algorithm, the hitch and the get along kind
Oh
of.
yeah.
Oh, it's so frustrating. You get going
It's
really good and then boom.
yeah, it's a bait and switch. So yeah, it's but I think one of the appearances I'm really excited about is this fall, and it's for the supernatural, but I'm going to Ireland as the ambassador for the Mysterious Adventures Tours Ireland trip. And it's in October. And so it's like a 10-day tour that we're doing in Ireland for Halloween, and we go to the Puka Festival. We go to like a bunch of haunted castles, and so I'm there the whole trip. And I think there's less than 10 tickets though. But what's really cool about this company is they do a 12-month payment plan with 0% interest.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really generous. So I am very, very excited about that.
Oh my gosh, that's humongous. So that's like a whole other post I can write now, thanks to you.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of bang for my buck out of this
Yeah.
one. That's awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
just want to thank you so much. I won't keep now. That was really it. My last question. So
Okay.